Hello, everybody. This is Alia Jamal, the love coach, and we are gathering here, meeting once again for another love circle. Today, we are talking about anxiety, and I title it One, Two, Three Anxiety Resolved. The reason I title it that way, it is that easy to work through our anxiety. I know that most of adults living in USA, that's where I am from, living right at the moment, have experienced some kind of anxiety. And given that we just went through a pandemic and our nervous system experienced a lot of fear, we are seeing it in teenagers, we are seeing it in very young kids. So what my goal is with today's conversation is help you understand what is going on, because with anxiety, when your body starts to get out of control, we go into more fear. We stop trusting our body and we start trusting the pill more. Nothing against pills, medical system, that's my background, research and science and everything. But here's the thing, there's something that your body can make, there's something that you can do inside of you that you won't need the pill anymore. Whatever anxiety pill you're on, you would not need that. I'm not saying, like, just listen to this, follow this, and stop taking your pill. That is not what I'm saying. There is another way. And I am speaking from experience. In 2020, I was teaching. In 2021, I was teaching without having any experience. But after that, I have had my own experience with anxiety. So that is, I am teaching from that wisdom now. So I have always been more prone to depression than anxiety. But when we go through a very big life changing event, for me, that was divorce, usually after a couple of years, we start to experience anxiety. And I'm going to help you understand all that goes behind the scene inside of our body, in our psychology, for our body to have those kind of symptoms and how you can resolve them. And never try to do it yourself. Always get the help of a professional. Even that means going to the doctor, getting a pill for right now, while you get help of a therapist, while you get help of a coach, while you get help from me, but do get some kind of help right away. So let's dig in. What is anxiety? Anxiety feels like, it's more like a thing in your body where you feel like, it can be anywhere from where you're just feeling sweaty and you're like, what's happening? Am I about to faint? Like everything is a little wobbly. Maybe you'll see, like, am I spinning? What's going on? Or your breath starts, like, you start having shortness of breath and you're having a full blown panic attack. And some people even do pass out. Like it can be just a little bit, from, like, that nerves that we feel right before taking a big exam, to like a full blown panic attack where you're just like, okay, completely out, non-functional. It can be any of that. It's a feeling of you are in danger. It's a feeling of you're not in control. So whenever, just look at your, so right now what I'm going to do, I'm going to speak to only those people who are actually dealing with anxiety. Because other people, like you, if you have not dealt with anxiety, you'd be like, I have no idea what she's talking about. So I'm going to speak only to those who actually experience anxiety or anxiousness, or full blown panic attack. It feels like you're not out of control. It always has a trigger. You might not know what the trigger is, but if you have, gone to a therapist and you have talked about it, you would know what your triggers are at this point. But I'm going to take you deeper than your trigger, because that's how I resolved it for myself. And if anything is shifting and changing at the moment and it comes to the surface, I know what's going underneath the trigger. I can control it so much faster and so much better. So, things are happening on the surface, you get triggered. Maybe it's a fragrance, maybe it's a specific song, maybe it's the taste of specific food that attaches you to something traumatic in the past, and your body goes into a panic mode. It's like, I'm in danger, I'm in danger. I need to run. Like, what's happening? What is happening in that moment? Your body is moving from a parasympathetic nervous system to sympathetic nervous system. Just to help you understand a little bit, right now, I'm calm, I'm relaxed, no rush. Even if I get late for this, workshop here, doesn't matter. There's no danger. So my body's in parasympathetic mode. It's in the healing mode. If there's any repair needs to be done, it can do that. I'm feeling very calm and relaxed. If right now a trigger happens, that something goes on and it connects me to one of the past memory when the trauma happened, then my body's going to switch into sympathetic nervous system. That is the danger. There is a danger, run. Now, because we don't live in a real danger anymore, we are not living in a forest where we have to be afraid of snake, or we have to be afraid of a lion, or all those kind of animals. We don't live in a real danger. So all the danger is perceived danger. So my mind think, because there's that song and because there's that memory, I am in real danger. So it right away switches to sympathetic nervous system. And what happens with that? The blood rushes to your extremities, like to your legs, to your hands, and it's like, run. But then, there's nowhere to run. Maybe you'll be sitting in a car and, something just came up. Maybe you're just walking in the mall and the song played and the song connected you to a memory and you're having a full-blown panic attack and you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna faint right here. What's happening to me? I'm away from my family. Like, we just keep going deeper and deeper into it. That's all perceived danger. But it's very real. For your body, it's very real. But it's not actually real. It's all inside of us. That's why if people around you don't really understand what's going on inside of you, they will just say, hey, just get over it. But you can't just get over it. You have to walk through it. And that's what I want to show you, how you can actually walk through it. And if you need more conversation, please reach out to me. Don't hesitate to reach out to me. We can have just one conversation and that can unlock so much for you. So it's a perceived danger and your body is switching to a different nervous system. When it switches to a different mechanism, it's like, okay, alarm are going off. It's emergency in your body at that moment. So there's two things I'm going to teach you today. One is how to change your physiology in that moment. That will be one, how to change your physiology, but the real work will come when you would learn how to change your psychology. What is going on in your mind? But that part you cannot do while you're in the midst of it. That part you will do when you're very calm, when you're very relaxed and there's no dangers, there's not even a perceived danger. And you can just have a conversation like, what's really going on? And you can have that, you can do that work on your own. You can reach out to me, but I'm going to show you how you can do that work. So first of all, let's get into what you can do in your physiology, how you can change. So when your nervous system goes from parasympathetic to sympathetic and you are in danger, first thing you can do is just put your hand on your heart. So when you put your hand on your heart, what happens? Your heart is expanding. The heart energy is expanding because this is electromagnetic field, this is electromagnetic field, both come together, your heart is expanding. When your heart expands, it sends a signal to your higher brain, so your higher brain is expanding too, the energy of it. I'll show it to you here. So for those of you who don't know, I'm also a pranic healer. I study energy body. I do energy healing. So that's what I'm explaining to you right now. I'm explaining how to take control of your energy body and how it's going to impact your physical body. Okay, so let's say here's your heart. The field expanded. So the top right here is your crown chakra. So when the heart expand, the crown expand. It's just like, I have a rubber band, I'm gonna stretch it. It has no option but to stretch as long as it's a rubber. It's that kind of true. Whenever heart expand, the crown expand. When these two are expanded, this is what happened. That's so magical. So right underneath our heart, right in the pit of the stomach, is solar plexus chakra. When these two are expanded and balanced, this comes together. It comes in like, the same alignment. When we are experiencing any extreme emotion, anxiety is also, anxiety is a unprocessed fear. And I completely skipped over that. So I'll talk to you about when I'm talking about the psychology part of it. When you're experiencing anxiety, your solar plexus chakra is working so hard to control your emotions. It's working so hard to take control of that fear. When something is moving so fast, it just starts expanding so much. Solar plexus is one of those chakras we don't want it to be too big. We don't want it to be bigger than heart or the crown, because if that happens, it creates an unbalanced emotional body. So that would be those people who can cry anytime. Like you start talking to them, you tell them a story of a dog and they can start crying. And they will say, like, usually we say, oh, I have a very tender heart. So it has nothing to do with heart. It's actually our emotions, our emotional center. So much is going on within us that we are not sharing with others, that someone just needs to focus and we're going to start crying. That is not what a developed human is. Our goal is to develop ourselves to match our highest self, to match our truest self. And that's not somebody who you just poke and they just, start crying. So when these two get balanced, the solar plexus chakra comes in check. So if you're somebody who feel anxious all the time, just make it a habit to just put your hand on your heart and just a couple of deep breaths. You might not be able to do it when you're in midst of a panic attack and you're already like, about to faint, or you're hyperventilating already, but maybe it will work. So I did try all these techniques on myself too. I have helped so many clients with this, and then time came when I needed to apply them on myself. Everything worked, especially putting your hand on your heart. I had a panic attack while driving on the highway, and all I did was put my hand on my heart and I just smiled. So that's another thing. We are changing our physiology. When you smile, it sends very different signals to your head. Even though you're consciously doing it, there's nothing to smile about when you're having a panic attack, but it's telling your mind there's something to be happy about. So what you just did, you kind of interfered the whole process that's unfolding, the whole process of emergency. So all of a sudden, we got our conscious mind involved. So your conscious mind would be like, what is there to smile about right now? When we are in midst of any emotional thing, whether it's depression, whether it's anxiety, it's sadness, it's anger, our unconscious mind has taken over, because that's the feeling mind. And when the feeling mind wakes up, the conscious mind gets completely shut down. Conscious mind is the one that's going to help you understand, oh, there's no danger right now. So when you just smile, you wake up your conscious mind, and your conscious mind would be like, what's going on here? What's going on? I am back. So just doing these two things can make a big difference. But I'm going to tell you more. Another thing you can do, you can put your hand up like this. It's winner pose. So when your hands are up like this, again, your physiology is sending a signal to your brain. There's something to be excited about. I just won. We all know that no matter what culture, what part of the world you come from, if your hands are up in the air like this, not like this, that's like, police is after you. But if they are all the way up like this and you have a smile, you just won something. We all know that. So your mind, again, your conscious mind is like, what did I win? Another thing you can do, if you're not driving like me, I would highly suggest park the car and take care of yourself. Um, you just put both of your hand on your hips. You put both of your hand on your hips and you put your chest a little higher. Again, physiologically, your mind is getting a signal there's something to be so confident about right now. What we are doing, we want to get the sympathetic system shut down and we want to switch to parasympathetic system. We are trying to convince the body, hey, it's a happy moment. There's no danger right now. That's what we are trying to do. These are very, very simple things, but you'll be surprised how taking hold of your physiology can help you resolve psychological things so much faster. That's why if someone is feeling down or what, one of the things you're like, any coach or therapist or even a doctor would say regular exercise. Because when we start working on a physical body, we can control our mind with so much ease. So these are the physical part that you can do when you're even feeling anxious or anything, and you can keep doing them as long as you need. Another one, so there are a couple more things. One is a yoga pose where you just lay down flat on your belly. So if this is your belly, it's gonna go on the floor. Don't do it on the bed. Do it on the floor because we want to be closer to the to earth. So even if you live in like a 10th floor building, still do it on the floor because floor does have concrete. It's still like earthy material, better than bed. But if you're in a health condition, you cannot be on the floor, you can do it on the bed. Okay, so your belly's on the on the floor, and you're going to turn your head to the right. So your left cheek would be on the floor. So you're going to do that and just regular breathing, and just take few breaths, maybe 30 seconds to a minute. Let your body melt into the earth. And then you're going to turn your head to the left, where your right cheek and right ear are on the floor. And again, 30 seconds to a minute, just deep breathing. What it's doing, it's calming your nervous system. It's again changing you from sympathetic nervous system to parasympathetic. The energy from the earth is recharging the whole energy body of your body. That's what's going on. On YouTube, you can also find there are some additional yoga poses for vagus nerve. So that's what we are after. The vagus nerve, the big nerve that goes like, that the central channel and whatnot. You can just, Google, search in YouTube, anxiety yoga poses or yoga poses for anxiety. So there are some twists and turns that you can do. When you are doing those twists and turns, again, you're sending a signal to your body, there's no danger. You are, consciously getting active and involved, and that, reduces whatever is going on in your nervous system. If you feel anxious all the time, I would highly suggest start doing few of these yoga poses. If nothing else, laying on your belly, definitely start doing that. Do not take anxiety lightly at all. It can get out of proportion so much faster, and you could be you could be with kids, especially if you're mom. We really have to pay attention to our emotional well-being because it's not impossible. It's not impossible. You are bigger than anything you're going through. There's a power within you that can take care of biggest anxiety in the world. We want to activate that power. We want to consciously exercise that power. So these are the parts about your physiology. Take hold of your physiology and you're going to feel a difference. I keep thinking more things because this is a topic I've been learning about a lot. There is another part in your body. If you get in touch with that, it switches you from sympathetic nervous system to parasympathetic very fast, and that is your diaphragm. So if you just put your finger where you think your diaphragm might be, and you just use your imagination that you're touching it, and you just take deep breaths where you're feeling like diaphragm is expanding, it's contracting, your whole focus is on the diaphragm, your nervous system is gonna switch to calm. Apply some of these, apply all of these, make them part of your life, and you will see such a big difference how you feel. And you can do it. If I can do it, if so many of my clients can do it, you can do it too. Okay, now let's get to where the problem actually occurs. So that is in our psychology. That's where the real problem is. So I'm going to help you understand a little bit about subconscious mind. Subconscious mind is, where all of our programs are stored. Think of it as a computer chip. If I put that chip into a computer, the computer can run on its own. We all have those behaviors, those patterns that are saved in that computer chip. Now, let's say if you experienced trauma when you were 16 and you never got a chance to resolve it or work through it, in that traumatic moment, your nervous system found a way to be safe. And that became your new behavior pattern. Let's say if in that moment, you needed attention, so your body's gonna start throwing a tantrum where definitely everyone give you attention. Because if somebody will give you attention, that means safety. So a lot of kids from early age, if something traumatic is going on, over time, they develop anxiety, they develop weird kind of phobias. That's all nervous system trying to find safety by seeking attention. Now that program is already in you. Now you're adult. So what happens when there's a trigger? The program runs. When there's a trigger, the program runs. Now that program, it runs in a sequence when there is a trigger. So what your subconscious mind does starts with worry. No, it starts with confusion. Sorry. It goes to doubt. It goes to worry, and it goes to fear, and unprocessed fear becomes anxiety. You might think like, oh, I have a lot of clarity, but I am anxious all the time. Now that is you looking at yourself. But if we sit down and we have a conversation and we can track our steps before the anxiety full panic attack is happening, we can track the steps. Somewhere there's a confusion. And then you start to doubt, and then you start to worry, and then you're afraid, and then that becomes anxiety. So I want you to start looking for, when are you confused? What are you confused about? When does your mind goes into confusion? Do you find yourself standing in the kitchen and you be like, what did I come here for? That's confusion. That's not knowing what you're there for. That's you being completely blurred out. And then you're going to doubt yourself. You'll be like, did I come here for the salt or for the fork? And then you will be like, oh my God, I'm losing my mind. Or, oh my God, my memory is getting, weak. And then it goes into like, oh my God, my grandma had Alzheimer. Am I going to have that? It goes to anxiety very soon. So it always starts with confusion. Start catching yourself when you feel confused. Just have a journal just for your emotional well-being and start writing down when you feel confused. Now, when you get to fear, unprocessed fear becomes anxiety. Why we have more anxiety right now? Because we are never taught how to process fear. What are we told? Suppress your fear, walk through it, be brave. Okay, I'm trying to be brave, I'm trying to walk through it, but it's not going away. I keep suppressing it because I don't want to look like I am the weak one among my peers, among my family. So what I do, I suppress it. When I suppress it long enough, it becomes anxiety. So if you've been suppressing your fears for a long time, it's becoming anxiety. So what I want to show you, how to resolve your fears. So there are three voices inside of us at any given point. One is the voice of fear, one is the voice of others, and one is the voice of our higher self. So we are not going to talk about the two other voices right now. We're only going to focus on the voice of fear. So when fear talks to us, it talks to us as a don't. It will say, don't do this, don't go there, um, don't write this, don't eat this, don't meet with that person, don't say this. There would be a don't involved. And as soon as like that don't will come, you're gonna feel like, something in your stomach is visceral as well. It feels in your body. Why it feels in your stomach? Close to your solar plexus chakra. What's happening? Your solar plexus chakra is getting overactive. It's getting bigger, 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 and you feel that in your stomach. It's energy as well. Once we can bring it all together, you're going to understand it so much better. Okay, so the fear talks to you in terms of don't. Some people would say, oh, that's my intuition. Your intuition, the voice of your higher self, talks to you more in a directive way. It will say, go to the park, read this book, call that person. It would never say, don't call that friend. It doesn't talk like that. Don't comes from fear. Now, this is how we resolve our fear. The voice of fear, we bring our intellect and we ask ourselves, is the fear real or is it perceived? So I have had conversations with wonderful, magical women who are afraid of their mother-in-law. So when mother-in-law is coming, they are feeling so anxious. I have talked to women who are afraid of their spouse. And when even the phone rings, they're like, their whole body is shaking, like, I don't want to talk to this person, just gonna yell at me again, or make another big scene. So that is when the relationship is not in harmony, and we all go through that part of life. No big deal about it. So you're gonna ask yourself, whatever you're afraid of, we all know our fears. We all know. If you really sit down and dare to be honest with yourself, dare to be courageous and honest with yourself, you know what your fears are. Write all the fears down. Again, have a journal just for your emotional well-being. Write down all the fears and ask yourself, one by one, is this fear real? Like, real fear would be that, it's midnight and somebody's knocking on the door and you're like, oh my God, who that could be? That's fear. Or your mind is gonna run like, is my family okay? Like, is something happened? Like, that split second feels like a year, because your mind is going like this while you're trying to, like, put on your clothes or try to get to the door. Your mind is going completely crazy. That is a real fearful moment. That is biological fear. It exists. It's good for us. We're supposed to have that ounce of fear within us. Don't try to fight it. But if this fear is not real, ask yourself, is this real fear perceived? What would be a perceived fear? Maybe one of your aunts had a very crazy mother-in-law, and you saw a lot of craziness going in front of you as a child. So maybe you have same association with the word mother-in-law, even though yours is pretty good, but maybe she has, like, some controlling factors, or the way she talks to you, or she has not learned yet how to accept your authority in life, whatever is going on. But your mind goes to that worst case scenario. So it's perceiving danger. It's not real danger. There's no reason for us to be afraid of any human being, whether it's your spouse, whether it's your kids, whether it's your mother-in-law, it's your mom, it's your dad. There's no reason for us to be afraid of anybody. because we are so powerful. But we need to learn the power that's within us. We don't need to be afraid of anybody. So if you're afraid of a human, whoever that human is, that could be even an ex, partner. If you're afraid of them, unless of course they have, threatened you, or there has been some kind of like, real violence in your backgrounds. So not talking about that scenario. I'm talking about where the fear is just perceived, where the person has never put a gun on your head and threatened you with your life. That would be real fear. But if that has never happened and your mind is just thinking, oh, what if she say this, then I wouldn't know what to say that to her. All perceived fear. And most of our fears, they are just perceived fear. So if it's a perceived fear, okay, it's not a biological fear. This is a perceived fear. Ask yourself, what is the lie in it? Every fear has a lie in it. And once you can find the truth, you set yourself free forever. So what is the lie in your perceived fear? That's the next thing you're going to do. You're going to find the lie in it. So what is the lie in a mother-in-law fear? She might end up breaking my marriage. Well, I'm pretty sure you have seen people, it has happened. I have seen people where mother-in-law was involved, and different cultures. It's not even related to just one culture or one religion or one kind of ethnicity. I have seen it in across the board where mother-in-law has successfully broken the marriage by doing whatever she needed to do. So that if I have heard that story, like, that would be my perceived fear, because mine haven't done that yet, right? If I am experiencing that, so that becomes a perceived fear, right? What's the lie in it? The lie is that that's not true. She's not doing that. Then what's the truth in it? So the truth is, now this is how I'm gonna teach it to you guys. The truth is, even if it happens, you'll be okay. That is the truth. The truth is not like, oh no, she will never do that. That was the lie part of it. Like, this person right now is not doing that to you. But what is really true about you, about your life, about your existence, the powerful being that you are, what is true about you? Even if you get divorced, you'll be okay. Why you're going through all these panic attacks just over that? You will be okay. Now, of course, nobody wants to accept that, okay, I'll be okay. Like, I don't even want to go through that. We are doing this psychological work to calm down your nervous system. We are not saying that it's going to happen, but you need to keep this in front of you. Even if it happens, I'll be okay. I will be okay. And that is the truth. I have never heard of somebody who got a divorce and they die because it was so hard, or it was like so emotional, unless they had some other disease going on. We don't die from getting divorced. We don't die when we lose our loved ones, because we all came here to do something. So I'm helping you understand and realize the truth about yourself. What is the truth here? The truth is that you'll still be okay. I'm going to give you one more example. So when I worked through it for myself. So the fear that I found, like the exact thought. Now, the reason I was able to find it, I worked with my coach and he gave me directives. I sat down and I kept digging. I was like, what is the thought that is there? Like, why am I afraid? What's going on? So my fear was I lost something that I had. I had that relationship and I lost it. It's same as if you have lost a loved one. If you have lost your child, your mind is gonna get stuck in it. I lost this loved one. That's why a lot of people go through divorce. Divorce is pretty much very close to the emotional impact is of losing a loved one, it is just like a death, because it's a death of a relationship, and a new life is coming out. Both of you are free and you're creating new life. So a lot of people have very tough a couple of years after divorce, because it's it's the end of something and the beginning of something else. So my mind has registered it as I lost something. That was the perceived fear. Now, what's the lie in it? You never lose anything. You never lose anything. The universe we live in, nothing is ever lost. Nothing is ever gained. Everything just is. When even a human die, we are not losing them. We are losing their physical form. They just come out, like the energy part of them comes out of the physical form. It still exists. They're still part of the universe. They didn't go anywhere. But because our senses cannot see, we register it. I lost that person. But the people who have developed their, spiritual gifts, or some are born with it, they can talk to their loved ones, but they are not going to be like how your kid was, or how your grandparent was, or how your dad was. They're not going to have that personality most of the time, unless I believe if you're talking through a medium, you can maybe connect with that, or they will kind of show that kind of personality just to tell you, hey, this is me, like this is me, your dad. They can do that. But our truth is not this body. Our truth is not this personality. So in the universe that we live, there's nothing lost. So that was the lie that was stuck in my mind. It was creating the fear, it was creating the anxiety. So then I asked myself, what's the truth in this? The truth is, I just made a decision and I can always make another decision. So that is what I had written down on a tiny piece of paper, and I kept it in front of me. And I believe for like a month or two, that was the directive from my mentor. Every morning I woke up, I reminded myself, hey, I just made a decision, I can make another decision. I can decide to get married with somebody, so I can again have that beautiful relationship. So if your lie is like, oh, your mother-in-law is dangerous, no, you can choose to be a very good friends with her. If you need to know how to become good friends with her, just reach out to me. I'll teach you how to fix any difficult relationship. It is very easy. So once I repeated it long enough in my mind that, hey, just made a decision, I can make a different decision, my subconscious mind got convinced and then let it go. But I learned the mechanism of how the psychology is working. After that, I have experience with different kind of life changes. I have experienced feeling, like this. My nervous system start feeling like this. When you're going through a big change, it could be a really good change because I am constantly growing. I'm in a class with my mentor every single day. So I am growing, like, steroid level growing every single day. That's a lot of change. Sometimes my nervous system is like, oh my God, I'm losing the old Alia. What's going on? Again, I have that conversation. There's no part of me that is getting lost. I am transforming to my highest version of me. And I want that. So then I bring in that desire and, nervous system calms down. But I can do that. I can go from like feeling so anxious where I feel like, the room is spinning and, oh my God, am I going to faint now? Oh, do I need to drink water? What's going on? Is my blood sugar low? Like, what's going on? I'm trying to figure out. I can go from there within few minutes completely calm because I can follow the track. I can ask myself, what is the fear? Is it real? If it's perceived, what's the lie? What's the truth? You can do it like this, and you can start living anxiety free. Very easy. It is not hard. So if anything you take away from this conversation, I want you to take this one thing. You can heal yourself, but you cannot do it by yourself. You will do the work, but you need somebody to show you how to do it. Get that support. If you just want to talk about it, if you even want to do this work, like you want to figure out, okay, what is the perceived fear, what's the lie, what's the truth, and you want to have your statement written out that you can repeat it to yourself, just reach out to me. Wherever you're finding it, most likely we are already connected. The people who are watching it in the Facebook group right now, we are connected. Reach out to me via email. Just Google Alia the Love Coach. You'll find me. I'm here for you. I want you all to live a beautiful, joyful life, not full of anxiety. And if I can do it, so many of my clients can do it. I know that you can shift it around for yourself and you can enjoy life to the maximum, not where you have to worry about, oh my God, I'm not going to go to the mall. I get triggered there. I'm not going to go here because I get triggered by that person. That's not a free life. That's living in a prison. I want that joyful, beautiful life of freedom for you. So that is all for today. Reach out to me. Looking forward to talk to you. Sending lots of love to all of you. Bye.